Many people are unaware of advances in brain science that will transform medicine and change society in profound ways. Electrical activity can be detected through the scalp, giving insight into neurological disorders, but also psychological conditions, and even reveal capabilities of your individual brain. So these are brain waves. Brain waves are always surging through your brain and out of your head. They change with your thoughts, your moods, your conscious, and even your preconscious thoughts. But what are the implications of being able to hack a person's brain by reading the brain waves? In addition to brain waves, there are other methods of monitoring activity in the brain, fMRI, using lasers. And these methods make it possible to diagnose neurological conditions, psychological conditions, and to treat those conditions by electrical stimulation. But also, they enable reading minds, knowing what you're, to allow researchers to know what you're thinking, to tell what your brain can do well or poorly, to meld mind and machine to control everything from a prosthetic limb to a fighter drone, but with just your thoughts, and brain-to-brain transmission. Now, as neural networks responsible for specific cognitive functions and behaviors are identified by these methods, it's possible to determine a person's cognitive abilities. Simply monitoring activity in a person's brain for 5 minutes while they sit quietly doing nothing but letting their mind wander can enable researchers to determine how a person's brain is wired and predict their mental strengths and weaknesses. For example, their propensity to learn specific subjects. This can be performed on a preschool child and predict how that child will be able to learn once they go to school. And how is this going to affect education and career choices? Nothing's more private than a thought, but your thoughts are no longer private because these methods can enable researchers to read your mind, to know what you're thinking. And I want to give one example from Marcel Just's lab, in which he is able to identify people having suicidal thoughts. And this is possible by having them hear words like happiness and death, and their brain responses differ from those of people who don't have not having suicidal thoughts. Now, this ability to mind read could be life-saving because often people conceal their thoughts of suicide, even from their loved ones and their therapists. In addition, many kinds of abnormal psychology could be detected in a similar manner. For example, here is pedophilia detected by brain responses to different images. But just like detecting suicidal thoughts, these methods work by comparing an individual's response to that of a normal average response of the population. So at what point do you decide that a person's brain response to pictures or sounds deviates sufficiently to intervene? Mind control by electrical stimulation has a checkered history. Delgado famously controlled charging bull by a radio controlled transmitter energizing electrode in his brain. He did a lot of research on humans to control brain disorders, but his primary objective was to use brain stimulation to control deviant behavior and control, in the ways that laws and drugs and religion have failed to do. This raised public alarm, and there were a number of unethical brain stimulation experiments performed. This line of research stopped, but it's now beginning again with new methods Delgado never had. And these are being used experimentally to treat all kinds of neurological, psychological conditions, enhance cognition. And there are other methods like ultrasound. You can even build a do-it-yourself brain stimulator with a 9-volt battery to enhance cognitive capabilities. So in summary, the ability to directly monitor and manipulate electrical activity in the brain will do for the brain what biochemistry did for the body. When you go to a doctor, the doctor performs a biochemical test on your blood and then detects abnormalities, for example, high cholesterol, and diagnoses that you're at risk of a heart attack. Then treats that condition by a chemical means, giving a statin, for example. But we're on the threshold now where psychiatrists and neurologists will be able to diagnose brain disorders by these methods and then use precision electrical stimulation to control abnormal behavior selectively in the circuits that are misbehaving. And so this raises enormous capabilities and changes for the future. New ethical issues are presented that we're going to have to deal with because the genie's out of the bottle now and it's not going to go back. So thank you very much.